Hello and welcome to Crypto News. Today is May 10th, 2025, and here are the top cryptocurrency news stories. We'll start today with the US and move on to the US Vice President, who will be leading the Bitcoin conference, following in Mr. Trump's footsteps. Well, the US Vice President will be speaking at Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas later this month. Most importantly, he will be one of the keynote speakers at Bitcoin 2025. He won't just say hello, he'll be saying a lot, and we can't wait to hear what he has to say. Moving on, I want to tell you that in previous episodes of Crypto News, I told you that the US failed to pass the Genius Bill, which is a bill that would have legalized stablecoins in the US. Since that happened, everyone has come out and condemned this decision. First and foremost, the US Treasury Secretary, who condemns the Genius Bill blocking, warning that it weakens US leadership in cryptocurrencies ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. His side of the statement can be found below in the source description. Continuing, I want to tell you that the CEO of Ripple also warns that the US will be left behind without the stablecoin bill and agrees 100%, as you understand, with the US Treasury Secretary. However, even senators like Tim Scott condemned the committee's policy on the failed Genius Bill on stablecoins. So, as you already understood, with such a big backlash, there will definitely be a new bill that will pass this time. Moving on from the US, we go to the Taiwanese congressman who is calling for a Bitcoin reserve in a national congress. Specifically, legislator Ko Ju-chun proposed allocating a small percentage of Taiwan's reserves to Bitcoin as part of a diversified stablecoin strategy. Even better, in his remarks, this legislator mentioned Bitcoin's potential to act as a hedge against global economic risks. So, little by little, everyone is seeing Bitcoin as the new gold. Plus, I'll have his statement below in the description for you, of course. However, the most important things he said to praise Bitcoin are that it has been running for 15 years without fail, it's decentralized, no one will ever audit any transactions, and it has a maximum supply, making it ideal as a reserve. Then, he said that New Hampshire has already signed on to make Bitcoin its reserve. Trump wants it as a reserve in the US, and many companies have said that Bitcoin is ideal for addressing some of the risks in the market. And from Taiwan, for our latest news from our countries, we go to Brazil, which is banning large pension funds from investing in cryptocurrencies. Specifically, the top economic policy agency in Brazil has banned certain pension funds from investing in cryptocurrencies because they are too risky. Specifically, closed pension institutions are not allowed to invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. Moving on to our ETFs, we will refer to the Bitcoin ETF, obviously. On May 9th, 2025, BlackRock's Bitcoin Spot ETF finally saw big inflows after a bit of a lull and saw inflows of $356 million. The day ended with a total of $321 million without us knowing what a company has done. Let's just say that BlackRock's ETF saw such big inflows while Bitcoin's price made this little red horn, which we don't need to worry about just yet. After such a big rise, Bitcoin needs a break to catch its breath. Moving on to BlackRock, let me tell you that Wall Street giant BlackRock met with the Cryptocurrency Working Group and the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, to discuss staking in exchange-traded products, ETPs, and tokenization of securities. Let me remind you that BlackRock has previously stated that an Ethereum ETF is less than perfect without staking, and we see that it is now making the right moves to see that happen. And for the latest news on our businesses, we will go to the fast food chain called Steak, which on May 16th will allow more than 100 million customers to pay for their food with Bitcoin. So quite simply, another company is embracing Bitcoin. And as Tim Draper said, businesses without Bitcoin are irresponsible. Furthermore, it is still optimistic that the price of Bitcoin will reach $250,000 by the end of 2025. And we will go to the Ethereum Foundation, which we learn has spent $32.6 million on Ethereum for its ecosystem in the first quarter of 2025 to grow as you understand. Moving on, we're going to go to the NFT collection called Doodles, which we saw in yesterday's episode, about which we learned that its currency was issued yesterday, and on the first day it was issued. Basically, most of them, as you can see, started selling with the price dropping minus 40%. And we from this NFT collection are going to go to the latest news of the day, which concerns virtual, about which I have two worrying news. The first worrying news is that according to Nansis, the 100 largest wallets own 93% of the currency, so we can say that it is very centralized and controlled by whales. And the worst thing is that, as we can see from Dune, something I've touched on before, no one seems to be using virtual, because especially in the last few weeks, they are creating from 0 to 5 new tokens per day. As you can see, most of the numbers are 0, which shows that fewer and fewer people are using virtual to make something. So less use, so less value. And it's time to go to our favorite cryptocurrency market, with Bitcoin at $103,000, with the price so far taking a breath, as I said. That wraps up the top news for crypto today. Is May 10th, 2025. I'd like to remind you that the content you just watched is created for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, but rather as investment opinion. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and feel free to comment. Take care everyone and have a good day.